It's wild. Things happened. But not really did things happen. Like last week, something happened. It was a big something. And then short video. I could have put out a short video, but that felt weird. I don't know what else to talk about like after a 5-minute video. So I couldn't realize sometimes like a minute video and then just that and I'll be like, that's weird. Basically, at 5:10, that would have been it. 5:10 p.m. Australian Standard Eastern Time. Sunday. It was Sunday, Australian Standard Eastern Time. 5:10. Something happened that was very, very sad. Thing is, I don't know what was sad. All I know is something happened somewhere in the world, and it was bad. And I think people may have died. I don't know. But it was kind of like a thing of, it would have been the 28th of May. That would have been like the official date, 28th of May. Ten minutes past 5. I would have started crying just before then, but that's when I looked at the watch, and something around the world made me really sad. And the thing is like, one of the first questions I asked was like, was this me being overcome with emotion? Because like, a lot of other stuff, I'm very stressed. I'm realizing a lot of things. It's kind of fun, kind of not fun, but like, it wasn't to do with any of that, which was like, cool. I know it's not, and that was just a thing. I'm like, God's telling me something shit's happened somewhere in the world. I don't know what it is. So if you have any clues on that, telling me would be helpful, because I also apparently wasn't the only person to become overcome with sadness at that specific time in the church, which is like, cool. Don't know what happened though. Could be anything. The world's a horrible place. It could be nothing. I could never find out what happened at that time. But yeah, so that's fun. And that was basically going to be video, except I don't know what else to say after that. I kept freaking out people that died. I was very paranoid. Like, did people I care about die? And I basically texted my friends checking they were alive, which is, well, I didn't like say, "Are you alive?" I was like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And it's like, if they replied, I was like, "Oh, thank goodness." There was an awkward moment where I realized, don't know if you've heard of this, the Rambo thing, the Rambo thingy with I can't remember what it's called, Lost Generation Lost. That last stream would have ended around the time where the crying happened, which is just like, that's fun. Rambo's definitely still alive, so that's definitely not a thing, but that was a thought on my brain, like, did it actually end up being real? Because that would have been sus. But also, like, yes, that it wasn't that, definitely, I don't think. Maybe it was, like, that is that good, like, several people confirmedly died, like, on the level of outside, like, because in the emotion, his emotion, people wouldn't have been thinking, oh, this is a show. People would have been thinking, is it morally good to kill? Like, that actually could have been the thing, which is weird to think about. But anyway, the rest of this conversation is going to be on the pastor thingy today, because it's Sunday again. I keep going to say Saturday. It's Sunday. I had preaching. There was a sermon given today, and it was on anxiety and stress and worry. We're still doing Philippians, like, everything is joy. But yeah, pastor has anxiety, so that was the so like he actually went through and defined what anxiety means and what anxiety meant in the time, like what's the clinical definition, because they definitely didn't have a clinical definition when they wrote the book, but it was definitely talking about how you deal with anxiety in your life. And it's actually proven that some of the ways listed out in how you would deal with anxiety in your life are actually ways that are scientifically proven. Like, there are several things shown that people who there are several studies several secular studies have been done to show gratitude decreases worry, levels in worry and stress. Like, and it's not saying, and the whole aim of this wasn't to say that, oh, if you're stressed and have anxiety, you're not a regression. That he actually very much prefaced by saying, like, that isn't the thing. If you need medication, you need medication. But this is also a very complicated field, and it's like, sometimes behavioral therapy, things like this, can help. So actually being gratitude, it can help. Like, if you anxiety, still go see a therapist and still go see a doctor, like that sort of thing. It's like a very much thing of like, let's not be hyper spiritual about it, but let's also not be hyper atheist, is what he said. Like, don't just solely go to your doctor. We are Christian. Like, he was saying this to a group of Christians, going, like, let's not ignore the fact that we are Christians and that we understand that parts of our body are spiritual. Like, it is debated whether anxiety is a problem of philosophy or biology. And the thing is, in some ways, it's both. And scientists kind of know that. Some scientists debate, and well, the best scientists know that it's kind of both. And some scientists are like, it's only this, or it's only this. And it's like, some people are like, having the drugs, it makes it worse. And it's like, it's a short term, and mental sciences are complicated. I'm probably not giving you that much thing, and I'm just briefly summarizing someone who's done research and probably hasn't done much research into this. So basically, I'm saying it's complicated. But it was like a really good insight, especially like he was sharing his own experiences with anxiety and what that looked like for him. And it's just like, I don't know, it was a cool sermon. It was good, it was helpful, but it was just mainly that thing of like, let's just, sometimes it's easier and better just to thank things. Like, there's a whole thing where people actually start saying thanks to the universe or ascribing personality on to the universe, which isn't very accurate because the universe doesn't have the universe doesn't have a personality. That's all God. This keeps going. Why does it keep lightening, darkening? I don't understand this. I don't know why the levels keep changing. Let's see if it stays. Anyway, so yeah. My brain closing when I words. It's kind of talking about how anxiety is a thing and being grateful. Being grateful is a big thing. Like, the more you focus, and the other problem was like also praying a lot. And the whole idea of praying was handing over what you can't control to God, because that's also a thing of like another cause of anxiety is worrying over things you can't control. It was I'm saying like hand it over to God, so that way it would be easier to let go of things. Letting go of things you can't control and you could never control. It's like letting go of control over things you couldn't control in the first place. Modern society is stressful. And it's actually been picked up. Like, people in previous societies have been more stressful. And I actually kind of think about that in a way of like, oh, people think of like, how terrible would you, like, some people are like, oh, you wouldn't have wanted to be, like, people are like, oh, you always talk about wanting to live in the past, but like, would you really wanted to live in the past? And the thing is like, yes, I would have. Like, sure, it wouldn't, it's not recent past, definitely not recent past, but like full on medieval times, like, give me that. Like, either I'm a high functioning nobility princess type person who like royalty and like getting everything and like having to and involving myself in political modifications and full on having to dodge the possibility of being assassinated by being like prim and proper and like lying and stuff, because that seems really fun to me, because politics in general is really fun to me. I don't know why. Some people might consider this weird, but like, even when like I watched Game of Thrones with Dad and I love it, and Dad once asked me, he's like, do you still want to be a princess? And I was like, no, I still want to be a princess. And guess what? The idea of what a princess is in Game of Thrones is totally my idea of what a princess when I was, that was like similar to what a princess was when I was younger, except less of a focus on actually marriage and stuff. So like, there's kind of a thing there where like I want less of a reason to be an actual princess nowadays, because the whole marriage and having kids thing, not up my alley. Not up my alley whatsoever. Like, I'd probably do it for the sake of the realm and like be fine, but it's not something I'm ever going to enjoy. But as long as the partner's respectful and understands that we're only ever doing this to have kids, I think I'm fine. But also, like, at the same time, opposite thing of like, oh, but nobility's a very small pool. What if you're ended up as a peasant? I was like, I would be totally fine with that. One, get away with not marrying a lot easier. Thank you very much. And two, I'm sorry, but I'm actually really okay with hard labor and laborious tasks. Like, I find them quite enjoyable, and like, I don't, as much as I'm very good at high thinking practical stuff and like I love thinking big picture, sometimes hard work's just fun, and I just love doing really physical work and stuff. Like, I'm kind of in that sense of like, high thinking, my brain is high thinking level form stuff, but also at the same time, I would find nothing more fun than just laying the works down to build a house and shit, like just milking cows and shit like that. that would be awesome. So like no matter where I was in society, in medieval society, I would be having a ton of fun. Like just seriously, I would be having a ball. Which is weird to think about. It's like it doesn't matter where I'm in society. I'll be like, either I'm backstabbing, making political machinations, like this is the best day of life, or I would just be a farmer, and I don't care which. So that's a weird insight into my life. We went from real random sadness at 10 a.m. No, at 5 or 10 on last Sunday. Talk on anxiety to talking about what Game of Thrones character would you rather be, and I said all of them. Bye.